We do. We do. I believe with our Be the Change program, which was an outreach for all applicants in our Yonkers community, it's a 16-week, 36-hour tutorial to give the applicants the very best chance of scoring as high as they can on the test. I believe fully 55% of the people that were selected, out of the 100 people who were selected for Be the Change, reported as being Hispanic. In 2017, we had 43% Hispanic took our entrance exam, and that it was the majority. That was the largest single racial group that applied for the Yonkers Police Department exam. The test is every 4 years. The test will be on September 18th. You must apply before July 14th. July 14th is the deadline. I can't emphasize enough to get out there and apply as quickly as you can, and then to study really hard for the test. It's a very competitive exam. Normally we have about 4,000 people take the exam because the starting salary is $75,000. Yes, it's quite a bit more.
Yes.
We have a lot of New York City police officers that reside in Yonkers that actually come up to join the Yonkers Police Department. We are heavily recruiting in the Hispanic community. We have been to Dos Marias. We have had recruiting stations all over the place, and we're seeing some really, really good results. It's very important to us because the Hispanic population in the city of Yonkers is growing the way it's growing. We need Hispanic officers. We need officers that are bilingual, and it's extremely, extremely helpful to us. But I just have to note that unless you get a 90, you're not going to get a phone call to be offered the position. You have to get above a 90. That's why I can't emphasize enough between now and when the exam takes place in September that you study very, very, very hard. So you have to be a Yonkers resident because we've never taken from the non-resident list. They go through the entire resident list first. So requirements are that you have to be over 18. I believe, Dean, does it have to be over 18 to take the exam?
It's over 18. It's 18 to 34 for these.
18 years old to 34, Yonkers resident, and you have to have a high school diploma. Don't need a college diploma, and you have to live in Yonkers 3 months prior to the exam. So those are the requirements.
About 1,000.
About 1,000. And we always see the numbers jump in the last week. And we're trying to get people to sign up now and avoid that delay at the end. So most people, they apply at the end, and we are encouraging them to do it now. We're encouraging them to start studying now, to study all the way through from now until September, to give themselves the best chance to do really well in the exam. No, it's pretty steady between 30 and 50 every single year. So it is very, very competitive, Hugo. So we want people to study as best, to do as well as they can, so they give themselves the best opportunity to get the job. It's a great job. You're helping people. You're being paid extremely well. The medical benefits are fantastic, and it's an opportunity to really help, make our Yonkers community better, especially when it comes to our community members that maybe are not fluent in English. To have Spanish-speaking officers is very, very, very important to us for community outreach. Right now, I believe we have about 100 Hispanic police officers out of our sworn total of about 616. Those numbers have risen steadily, and we expect them to continue to rise. We have a great Hispanic footprint in the Yonkers Police Department that's growing every single class, so we're very excited about that. There was a big change, and there were far less then. And I think that's the key of making inroads to communities. The one thing I always say about our Hispanic community is, between Dominican or Mexican or Central American, different. You have to approach in different ways. We have a very strong footprint in the Yonkers Police Department with respect to officers that are Puerto Rican and Dominican. Like, for example, not so much for the Mexican community. So it's very important for us to reach out to the Mexican community, not just to the applicants, which are usually young people, but also to their parents, to talk about the benefits of the job and how they can really help the community by joining the Yonkers Police Department. We do. We have 2 Mexican officers, and those officers have been fantastic in helping us reach out to the Mexican American community. And that's really important. We need people to help us build a bridge. I can tell you, like the Yonkers Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, the Mexican Chamber of Commerce, Alfonso Alvarez from Dos Marias, Rob Espirito and Cecilia Espirito from La Piñata, Pedro. We have so many great partners that help us bridge that gap and give us an opportunity to sit down with people that are interested to explain. Coming from me, it's not as valuable as it coming from a Mexican-American Yonkers-born police officer, like the 2 officers that are helping us recruit within the Mexican community. So we need to recognize that all Hispanic groups are very different, and by reaching out to different community leaders in each group, we're really helping ourselves and helping the community connect with us so we can get people that want to be Yonkers police officers. So to that point, my request to you, Mr. Flores, would be in these other communities that maybe we don't have a connection like we do with the Mexican American community or the Puerto Rican community or the Dominican community, maybe because some of the communities have gotten here sooner. They were here earlier, and some have come later. So they're still getting comfortable with the policing in the United States and how policing works. I know policing in some of these other countries can be much different than it is in the United States. So we have to build bridges about trust. And if there's anybody in any of these communities, you mentioned El Salvador, anybody at all that would like to connect with the Yonkers Police Department to help us provide information about the exam and help us sit down and talk to people about it from the El Salvadorian community or any community, we would love that opportunity. I think connection to community. I think the outreach that we've made and the connection we've had with community has been really big in the time I've worked on the Mayor Spano community. Mayor Spano is all about community, and also our precision policing model, which is where we focus on the top offenders and we make sure that we get them in jail as long as we can, because we know that like 5% of the population commits like 80% of the crime. So when we focus on those people, we don't have to have as many negative interactions with the public in trying to solve the crime problem. So I think those are the 2 things. Crime down. I think the legacy I want to have is that the community is safe because of the Yonkers Police Department, and they feel secure in how we're policing. They feel comfortable with us. They feel that they can approach us. They feel like we are there to help them and solve problems. Absolutely. The Hispanic community all across the board is a vibrant, growing, robust community. So many businesses, so many great people, and getting more and more Hispanic members of the city of Yonkers is a really important thing for me. U.S. citizen. They have to be a Yonkers resident. They have to have a high school diploma, and between the ages of 18 and 34. And the most important date is July 14th. They have to sign up for the exam before July 14th. And what's important for me to tell people is, even if they're not sure about the test, take the test. It's one Saturday. You don't know where you're going to be 3 years from now, and if we call you, that may be something you're very interested in. And it's important for people to understand that if they're not sure about different things about what we do, we want you to come to the PAL and to our Community Affairs Division and ask us and sit down. We're willing to talk to anyone. So you don't have to be a citizen to take the exam. You do have to be a citizen to be appointed as a Yonkers police officer. So if you are working through the process of acquiring citizenship, take the exam, because you can. And you can work towards getting your citizenship while you're waiting. These tests are 4 years long. So, if you're working towards your citizenship and you get called in 3 years, it's a great opportunity to really serve your community. And the other thing I wanted to close with and really emphasize to people is we really need the community from Yonkers to want this job. And I understand that there are financial hardships for people. It's $100 to file for the exam. But what's important to note, when you look at the exam application, and I want everyone to go to www.joinypd.com. That's joinypd.com, because that's where all the information is. But in that information is contained, if you do have a financial hardship, you can apply for a waiver for the $100. So that's also a very important piece. We're doing everything we possibly can. We're going to have some tutorials coming up, free tutorials that don't cost any money for anybody. You show up and we'll show you the different ways to take the exam, what the exam looks like, but all that information is on Join. There is no excuses. Some people take a longer time to study and to do well on these exams. It took me a very long time. Other people pick it up right away, but you're right, there's no excuses. It is June 23rd today. You have months and months and months, even if you did an hour a night. And when you're looking at these types of exams, they don't change. The words change, but the concepts don't change. So once you master the concept, you know how to take the exam. Everyone should be able to get above a 90 if they put the time in. No excuses.
Thank you so much for the interview.
Thank you, Mr. Flores.